wearing tzitzit from now on when I play ball.
Wow.
It's a big thing. We know, the sports guys, we know that what it means.
And guys, I just wanted to add to the great words that the rabbi just said, and that is that if anyone here finds it challenging because sometimes they only have one pair in the closet and it's in the laundry, and they say, you know what, I'm going to go out and buy a second pair. Big deal, I'll just let it get cleaned, it'll come back, and I'll eventually continue to wear it as well in the future. You should know that amongst us, we have great people that loves Hashem, and Hashem loves them. Especially this guy over here. You see this guy over here? This is Jonathan Dagny. He's somebody that loves Klal Yisrael, and he loves Hashem, and Hashem loves him dearly. If any time there's someone who needs a few extra pairs, you walk up to the rabbi.
I have a box of 200 tzitzit in my house. I have a tzitzit
there you go.
I have a tzitzit
and then you have Jonathan have your back in case you need
replenish.
That's replenishments. Every time you need a backup pair, which is a good idea, a backup pair, you come to the rabbi has that gemach tzitzit, and you're able to have one in so to speak in the closet to switch off from, like this. Could you imagine it's funny, when I used to, my wife pushed me to go to Weight Watchers to lose weight, and she told me that they have this watch and even an app on her phone. I'm from the dinosaur age. I still go with the flip phone, because I don't even have text. I don't have text. You know why I don't have text? Guys, you know why? Not because I have anything good. I love talking to people. I love talking to people. I want to hear the tone of their voice. I want to hear their heart behind the voice. So listen to this. On my wife's phone, she has an app that makes popcorn. No, it's a joke. She has an app that actually counts your steps. This was made by Weight Watchers because they want to know how many steps a day you take to know how many calories you burn. I said to myself, oh my gosh, that app of counting your steps is the Vilna Gaon of Tzitzit. The Vilna Gaon, the rabbi from Vilna, told us every step you take, wearing your tzitzit is another mitzvah. How many steps a day do you think the average person takes?
10,000.
10,000 is good, close number. You're pretty much on mark. They said between 10 to 12,000. So you're doing good today. We send them on The Price is Right. he just that's great. He just hit that ball out of the park. But 10,000 to 12,000 steps. That means, listen to this. You put on your tzitzit in the morning and you forget about it. It's like an undershirt. You don't even think about it. At that point, you end up taking 10 to 12,000 steps a day. That means that you just accumulated passive income, 10 to 12,000 mitzvot just by walking around and doing your stuff. Could you imagine that? Every day, picking up 10 to 12,000 mitzvot because you took steps with 10, 12,000 steps of tzitzit? How much is that in a week?
Carlos.
70,000.
70,000, or if it's 12, then it'll be just a little bit more. But yeah, you're right. 70,000 mitzvot a week, and we'd be looking at,
Carlos does 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah. So if that's the case, we gotta wrap him well. If that's the case, 20,000 mitzvot a day. You know where you can pick it up, and you don't even think about it. It's the easiest mitzvah in the world to do. Could you imagine how many in a month? Could you imagine how many mitzvot in a year? Just from walking with a pair of tzitzit on. And at the end of the day, while you think you're wearing it, it's really wearing you. It's really protecting you. And it reminds you that Hashem is with us on every step of life. So good to meet you guys. My gosh, this is such a great.
They want to know if it's the Raisa Rebbe. They don't know that they've been having tzvekas.
So today, it's interesting. Our garments, I'm looking at some of your shirts. Our garments today, on the front they have these two corners, as most of us see. On the back, they're circled up on the sides. So these are the begadim that not necessarily are required because they don't have four corners. But at the end of the day, if we could grab the mitzvah, we go out and find a beged with four corners, which is our tzitzit, and we look to put on the tzitzit in order to be mikayim the pasuk. And we're walking with the Torah wherever we go. This is unbelievable.
No, I'm saying if you have a four-corner garment, you have to put the tzitzit on it. But if it's just a normal shirt, you don't need to put tzitzit. Do you have to wear? Like I'm saying, like my question is like, do you have to wear tzitzit? Like according to the Torah, like is it in the
But
Torah?
It's even more where you see it. What the rabbi's saying is that even though this is a mitzvah, that you don't have to do. If you're not wearing the four-corner garment, you don't have to do it.
So why
If
should
you
it
do
depend if you protect it or not? If it's not deoraisa?
So this is what I'm trying to explain to you. When you put on the garment that has four corners, it is a diras. And at that moment, it is an activated pair of tzitzit that wraps around you and protects you. If you're looking to be able to be mekabel and mekayim those mitzvot, you'll look for the opportunity of an insurance plan that money can't buy. If I would have been thinking that night, hey, do I really need to wear a pair of tzitzit? I'll just make sure I walk around with circled shirts. If I would have went with that mindset of saying, what do I need to do it for? I'm not so required in the first place. I wouldn't be standing here in front of you now. I don't think I would have lived through that night. Very few people at 80 miles an hour. Do you know how tall this building is? It's not 100 feet. I saw on the way in. Could you imagine driving off the roof of this building at 80 miles an hour, landing in the street, and wrapping, God forbid, the car around something? What's the chances of living? And on top of that, to walk out with a sprained, not broken, a sprained thumb? If we would look at mitzvot, there's something, oof, I gotta do this. Is there any way out of it? Then we don't get the point of the mitzvah. The mitzvah is here for your gain. It's not you're doing God a favor. God is doing you a favor. He gave you a mitzvah to wrap yourself in and be protected with. An insurance plan that money can't buy. The proof is, look at me. I'm standing here alive. I'm standing here alive. I want to tell you guys something that I didn't say in the speech. When I was laying in the bed right next to me, there was an Indian woman. And I heard the doctor walk out of the room because she was on the other side of the curtain. And the doctor told the husband of this Indian woman, I'm sorry, we have bad news. The operation was not a success. I'm afraid that even after we put in the 3 bolts and the metal plate in your wife's leg, I'm sorry, but it still is not going to hold. We're going to have to reoperate again a second time. Maybe she'll be able to walk. The doctor walks out of the room, and I heard this Indian lady in the bed crying. She was crying. So I turned to the husband, and I said to the husband, I feel so bad for your wife. She was also in an accident, probably, just like me. She probably also had this terrible car accident. What happened to your wife? And he says to me, no, David. I hear his voice in my head right now. No, David. I said, so what happened to your wife? How did she shatter her leg? He says, 2 days ago, she woke up in the morning and she slipped off the side of the bed and she fell 1.5 feet and shattered her leg. I said to myself, Self, the lady next door fell off her bed at 0 miles an hour and she took a drop of 1 foot and her leg shattered, and the first operation wasn't enough, with bolts and screws and metal plates, and still she couldn't walk. Me, the Eibishter, threw me 100 feet off of Garden State Parkway at 80 miles an hour. And my legs, I can dance like a beast. I can dance, I can walk. Thank you, Hashem. I can walk, I can take steps. This woman would have given anything just to be able to walk again. And there we go. And she fell off of 1 foot of a bed. And I fell 100 feet at 80 miles an hour. You know what's the difference, my love, between her and me? Rabbi Schneiderman, you still with me? You know the difference between her and me? There's only one difference. He caught me in that pair of tzitzit. He caught me. I'm telling you. I felt something holding Duvi Bensoussan. Something holding me. And that's who loves you. What's your first name?
Mine?
Yeah.
Shlomo Salo.
Shlomo. You have great dimple, Shlomo. I want to tell you something. There we go. I wanted to smile. That's what I wanted to see. Shlomo, listen to me, my love. Listen to me. Hashem loves you. And Hashem loves every single guy here. Including this funny guy over here.
Carlos!
Carlos! Hashem loves you, Carlos! You know what it is that he pulled you out of Mexico and he brought you down to great yeshiva? You'd be young. You'd be Carlos, you're here rocking the Torah instead of rocking the okay, whatever.
Tacos.
Yeah, the Corona. Okay, we'll leave it. We'll leave it. Don't go there. But we're so lucky. Listen, he loves us. He's with us. And he wants to show it. Not just with a hello, goodbye. He wants to put something around you like a hug that wraps around you. That's how it's tzitzit. And hugs you with the mitzvot and the Torah to tell you as long as you got this, you're good. You're protected. I have you. I'm with you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to watch over you. And Bezat Hashem, you guys are going to be tremendously successful in life. You know what successful means? You're going to learn the sweetness of Torah and mitzvot. The minute you taste that, everything else is artificial flavoring. If you could just push yourself, in the beginning it's a little bit bitter, because it's in Aramaic, it's not so easy to learn the words, but if you could just push through the initial stage of learning to learn how to learn, just the words. You get out a little notebook. Every time your Rebbe gives you over a piece of Gemara, there's a new word that you never saw before. Write down the word. Vocabulary words. Write down the word. Write the explanation beside it. Over time, you'll realize that little notebook will turn into pages and pages of wisdom, where you could even turn back to it like a dictionary one day, and it'll make the reading easier. The minute an American boy breaks through the reading barrier, he becomes a beast in learning, because we're smart, we're blessed, we're powerhouses. This kid here, you see Shlomo? He's a smart kid, brilliant kid. Hashem gave him great intellect. And he looks into things because he has a will to want to know emet. But that emet will come. We just got to get the words, push ourselves into it, just the initial stage, taste it. Ta'amu ur'u kitov, it's sweet. Just push. You taste the sweetness. Once you taste that sweetness, you'll never give it up. What's your first name? Daniel. Sadikata. Neshama Teora. Wow. Guys, I give you a biracha. Hashem should make the Torah sweet for you. He should protect you from bad friends. That's a big one today. He should protect you from bad friends. He should give you the will to want to stand up and fight for what you know is right. And make a coup, a group of friends that want to do the good and hang out together and do great something. Klal Yisrael, Bezat Hashem. It's a pleasure to meet you guys.